Hello, good people. It's been a minute since I've created a vlog post, and that's because I've been focused on my children's homeschooling, remote learning, which can take up to 7 hours in a day. And I've also been focused on my one-to-one work right now, but I have not forgotten about this beloved community. I've just had to do some shifting because, the best way to stay out of overwhelm is, priorities, right? So in moments of unexpected shift, I can say for myself, and you may relate to this, that we can fall into the, why is this happening to me mode. We can ask, why is this happening to me? But there are much better questions, much more empowering questions that we could ask. And that's really the inspiration for today's blog post. How do we find freedom within limitation? Where do we find our agency when life or the world around us seems limited or limiting? And really, what better time to really explore this than now? A time when we're being faced with so many unprecedented limits, like the pandemic, like the prospect of remote learning. For many parents and teachers, we've got to figure out how to make a full school year of remote learning work for ourselves and our children. Even the hybrid model presents us with remote learning 3 days a week, right? So, on top of that, in the U.S., it's a time where we feel limited by the backpedaling that we're seeing around racial justice, by an election cycle marked by incredible tension and contention. And that has global impact, we all know. So what do we do with that? What do we do with that knowing that we are at the beginning of something here, not the end? What do we do when it feels like we're slowing down or backpedaling or losing momentum? Well, that's when it's more important than ever to keep ourselves focused on building. But there's a component to building that often goes overlooked when we're going full steam ahead, right? And that is the visioning and the design piece, which is integral to any building process and which is a continuous process. So these lapses or these pauses, these are times to regroup and remember what we're here to do, to reflect on and integrate what we've learned so far so that we're better prepared for the next surge forward. So the questions to ask when we're feeling most limited or stuck are, what am I here to do? And what's most important for me to do right now? What's my next step? And of course, how can I bring healing and growth to this situation? These are my go-to questions. And of course, remember to give yourself and other people the benefit of the doubt. Bring compassion to the questions and to your answers, because we've all been going on autopilot for quite some time. And we've been jarred out of that sort of auto mode, that autopilot mode. So there's a lot of investigation going on of things that we've taken for granted or that we've accepted as gospel. And that's not always easy because it requires that we really expand our thinking, expand our being, and process some new learnings. We're bringing things that have been on the fringes of our consciousness to the forefront. So these pauses, they're an important part of our growth and learning process. And we've been preoccupied with quantity for quite some time. And now we're really called to look at the quality of our lives. We're called to consider that we can improve the quality of our lives. And that question of can we do it is really important, because when these stressors, these limitations, when they come up, they can trigger something within us. They can trigger a death wish or a life wish. And the goal is to stay focused on that life wish that helps us when we want to throw in the towel or step onto a destructive path, that helps us to stand in our strength, to show up as our best selves and to look up, knowing that we can find a way, because life always finds a way. So keep coming back to those questions. What am I here to do? What am I creating here, building here? Now, I keep my answers to those questions in my journal next to my bed. And sometimes I tweak the answers, but I always come back to them because that's my big picture. And then day to day, I ask, what's most important for me to do right now? What's my next step? And how can I bring healing and growth to this situation? Whatever it is I'm faced with or working on or facing, right? So we're called to live. And we're also called to do life differently. And we're called to do community differently. Even on the most basic level, maybe we don't need to cram so much in. Maybe we don't need to cram ourselves physically into our planes and trains and shared spaces like sardines. Maybe there's something else that we're after, something more spacious and expansive. Now, to that end, I'm going to be offering an immersive experience called Practical Somatics this year in November and December. And somatic tools in my application are sensory tools that build self-awareness, that help us to relieve, to release and manage stress, that help us to enter into deeper levels of self-care, and help us to create and maintain sacred space and a sense of spaciousness in our lives. And I'm holding the course in November and December of this year to coincide with the upcoming U.S. elections, because I think we're going to need some extra support at that time in staying in a space of growth and healing and expansion and building, so that we meet this moment of revolution and evolution from a place of presence and power and wholeness. There'll be a link in the comments around this video where you can get more information about Practical Somatics and register to join us in the course. All right. Thanks so much for tuning in, and much love. And until next time, be well.